What did you do, honey? Why'd you stop it at all?
Because we can edit it to make it one video.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
there's
Okay.
not.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to read this, okay? I will end this war in Iraq responsibly. What does responsibly mean?
It means
I think responsibly means, I'm going to model this for you. I think responsibly means in a smart way, in a way that is safe and good for other
common
people.
sense.
Like common sense.
Straight from
I will end this war in Iraq responsibly and finish the fight against Al-Qaeda and the Taliban in Afghanistan. I will rebuild our military to meet future conflicts. Future conflicts. Conflict is something I know that is compare and contrast and is for and
A
against.
conflict
So I
is
think
like
a
a
conflict
fight?
is, yes. So for future fights, good. But I'll also renew the tough, direct diplomacy. What is diplomacy? I know when I see diplomatic, they're trying to say that people are doing things in a way that they can be fair and communicate well. So I think diplomacy means what?
Sorry.
That can prevent Iran from observing nuclear weapons and curb Russian aggression. I will build new
Wait, what
partnerships
does
to
diplomacy
defeat
mean?
diplomacy.
Diplomacy.
Diplomacy means to say something in a nice way or a good way so that both people can get what
Oh,
they
like
want.
logically, maturely.
Yes, but not
Oh, it's like
overall
compromise?
logically. Compromise, yes. It's a nice way to compromise.
Oh.
People between different countries have to have diplomacy, have to say things in the right way so not to offend the other people.
Oh.
It's saying something to someone that they might not want to hear, but you say it nicely so they don't get mad at you.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Yes.
Just kidding. Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. So I will build new partnerships to defeat the threats of the 21st century. Terrorism and nuclear proliferation. Poverty and genocide. So nuclear proliferation, that means nuclear disaster. Is it ethical to have nuclear power?
No.
Well, to have it, but to use it, what do you think?
It's not ethical to use it because then you're hurting other people.
Good, good. Poverty and genocide. So poverty and genocide are...
I know what poverty is. It's
Genocide is
poor.
killing a lot of people. Like Hitler committed genocide when he killed all the Jews. It's killing a massive amount of people at once.
That's not ethical at all.
Yes, exactly. Climate change and disease. Do we need to watch climate change and disease?
No.
And we do, actually. We have to watch climate change and disease because
We need to watch. Oh, actually, yes, we do need to watch it because we need to know when there's a climate change so that we can warn the people
exactly,
and so
yeah.
that they can
And we can
move,
protect the earth, right?
or they can.
Good. And I will
find
restore
a
our
good-
moral standing so that America is once again that last best hope for all who are called to the cause of freedom, who long for the lives of peace, and who yearn for a better future. So that's Democratic presidential candidate acceptance speech by Barack Obama. Now, does that sound logical to you? Sorta, but not exactly logical, right? What does it sound the most to? Does it sound logical? Does it sound like we have to do the right thing? Or does it sound like very emotional, like he's...
Ethical.
You're right. That one's ethical. Good job. Right, ethical. Go ahead. So you're understanding the difference between these three things, right?
Yes.
Great. Okay. I'm not unmindful that some of you have come here out of the great trials and tribulations. So great trials and tribulations means what? That means, when I think of trials and tribulations, I mean hard things. Like moving from California to New York was hard, right? Wasn't it hard emotionally? And wasn't it hard? Like,
So that's emotional.
well, we're going to find out. What we're doing is we're reading these to find out if they're logical, ethical, or
I already know the answer to
emotional.
this one.
Wait, but we have, don't assume. We have to understand it through what the words say. That's why we're reading it.
Oh, yeah.
We have to come to the understanding, so that means we have to read it first, okay?
Oh, I see.
Okay, so some of you have come fresh from narrow jail cells, and some of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom, so they're trying to be free, left you battered by the storms of persecution. Battered by the storms of persecution. Do you know what persecution means? Well, no, that's prosecution. Persecution means to be treated badly for
Wait, is it
no reason. Like, the African American people were persecuted in the 40s and the 50s.
They're still
The
persecuted.
Jews were persecuted during World
sometimes.
War II. Sometimes they're still persecuted. Yes, so the storms of
Oh,
persecution.
so it's like racism, kind of?
Racism is one form of it, yes. There's different forms, but that's definitely one form. Of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been the veterans of creative suffering. You know what's unique about this one that's different than this one? Is he's using more flowery language. Why would we use flowery language?
To draw on the reader.
To draw on the reader, but why else?
Make
What do we
them
want
feel
to tap?
pity.
Make them what?
Feel pity on him.
Make them feel. To make them feel.
So emotional.
So this one's looking like it might be emotional. Let's read the rest of it. In the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. See, the words they're using, redemptive, unearned, suffering. Those all bring up emotion, right? Right. Okay. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Georgia. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to the slums and ghettos of northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. So he's trying to tell them, even though you're being persecuted, go back and make it right. So what does that sound like? What does Martin Luther King want? This is his I Have a Dream
It's
speech.
still emotional.
Why? What is he trying to instill in them?
Courage.
Yes. Oh my God, that's great. Okay. So this one's emotional. Actually, I'm going to write it for you because my teacher doesn't need to have 2 hours of this video. And I'm a slow writer. Anyway.
I'll show you fast writing.
No, seriously. We don't have time. It's being taped, honey. Okay, here's the next one, right? This one's done by the CEO of the company, okay? However, although private final demand, output, and employment have indeed been growing for more than a year, the pace of that growth recently appears somewhat less vigorous than we expected. So this kind of language is much more data, right? It's much more like a computer. This one's more like demand, output, employment, vigorous, expected. These words all are something very data, very something you'd see reading the newspaper or something, right? And what do we read the newspaper for?
News, entertainment.
Well, it's not supposed to be entertainment, but news. And for what? What's the 411?
Gossip.
Information.
Exo.
Okay, right. Listen, watch. Since establishing in the mid-2009, real household spending in the United States has grown in the range of 1.2% at annual rates. So they're using numbers here, aren't they? What did we say about logic?
Logical.
Right, so it would be logical,
It's
right?
in order.
A relatively modest pace. Household caution is understandably important. The painfully slow recovery of the labor market as restrained growth. So we know that this one is logical, don't we? Now, actually, I feel bad because what I should have shown you, I made pictures, and I don't know how they ended up in the back because I put them in the front. So I just want to show the teacher, my professor, that I was going to do this first. So 1, 2, 3, 4. What would be here?
5, 6.
That's right. This is an example of.
Logical.
Good. A, B, C, D.
EFG.
E, F, G. What? What comes next? E, F, G, H. Is an example of what?
Logical.
Why is it logical?
Because it's in order.
Because it's in order, right. And that makes sense. Now here we go. Now here, here
Just want to make sure.
is
you
an
see it.
example of, sadly, a starving dog. Is it the right thing to do and a good thing to do to let a dog starve?
No.
No.
Daisy Rose is happy.
Yes, she's happy. But so this is bad because it's not a nice thing to do, right? So what are these pictures showing you? These are, and here's a picture of
Unethical.
ethical, not unethical. Ethical, right? So these are ethical, right? Now what is this? This is a fireman getting a cat out of a tree.
Oh, that's definitely ethical.
You're right. Those are the right things to do. Okay? And now you can't see this too clearly, but for this one, and I was going to give all these pictures before we did the reading, I just got nervous about the video tape, or, whatever it is, we're taping. Okay, now these are all emojis, which have different what's on them.
Emotions.
Right, so this one's to show us what?
And love.
Right,
Sad
but which one of
and
these is that?
Emotional.
Right, but that would be, okay, so ethos is ethical, logos is
Oh, it's
logical,
pathos.
and pathos. That is right, pathos is correct. Okay? So now, you did a good job on that. Now, next words. Okay. Okay, now I want you to paraphrase 2 things in your writer's notebook, okay? I want you to write down ethos, pathos, and logos, L-O-G-O-S.
Thank you.
Okay? Now paraphrase for me what ethos means.
Ethos is ethical, the right thing to do.
Right.
The right thing.
What is pathos?
Oh,
Path is emotional. It's an emotional path. You go a certain way.
it's like a path. kind
Right.
of.
So what is pathos?
Emotional,
Yes.
a
So
feeling.
yes, it's emotional writing, right? When people give speeches, they're trying to do certain things. Sometimes they're trying to make people do the right thing, which would be ethical. Sometimes they're trying to stir people's courage up, like Martin Luther King, so they use pathos. Sometimes they're just giving a report, for this is where our business stands now, and that would be logos, right? So that's perfect. Now, you're going to paraphrase your things in Writer's Notebook, the definitions, as well as, okay, you're going to be informally assessed and answer to fill in the blanks listed under the content objectives, okay? And then you will be assessed informally on their ability to work in groups and class direction. You'll be formally assessed based on the homework. Your homework is that you're going to find one example from the newspaper of each of these 3 things, okay? And that is our lesson. Say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now,
Bye.
come and say thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. I love you.
And to the best director in the world.
No.
Thank you, Dr. Olganek, very much.
Bye.